have anything to bring to the court's attention or that we need to take up before we have the jury back out and the witness back on the stand?
On behalf of Mr. Williams.
All right, thank you.
Now I'm happy to stay, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Judge, somebody wants to talk to you right there in the middle.
Who's that? Is there somebody that?
You want to talk to the judge?
Oh, we can differ.
Well, this is a break right now, so.
I was just going to ask about the civil forfeiture filing. If they come to you, they say the judge on this case.
I really don't know the answer to that. If you want to send an email to Chambers, maybe just copy both chambers, we'll get you an answer. Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right, we have the jury ready.
Yes.
Let's get Mr. Copeland back in.
Now, isn't it true that after Nut was killed, that you thought the whole If gang was going to be after you?
I don't recall.
Okay. Isn't it true that you told Detective Copeland, it's not a gang, it's the whole clique, you know what I'm saying? The whole gang. They're after me.
No,
No, you did not say that.
because I don't know who the hell Detective Copeland is.
Excuse me. I meant to say Detective Thorpe.
I don't recall.
All right. Now, we talked earlier about the gambling house in Lakewood. Did you tell Detective Thorpe during the same January 11, 2015 interview that the person who shot up the gambling house in Lakewood was Kel?
I don't recall.
Okay. And that when Kel shot up the gambling house, he actually shot up Thug's car?
I don't recall.
And that Thug wanted Kel to pay for the window of his car being shot up?
What about it?
Did you tell Detective Thorpe during your January 11, 2015 interview that Thug wanted Kel to pay for the window that was shot up?
I don't recall.
Also, in that January 11th interview, didn't you tell, excuse me, strike that, let me ask. Do you know if Nut was in a gang?
I don't recall.
During that same January 11, 2015 interview, didn't you tell Detective Thorpe that Nut was the big dog in the gang?
I don't recall.
Specifically, didn't you tell Detective Thorpe Nut, he wasn't the big dog, but he was they big dog? Like Nut ain't the big dog, but he's still a big dog. But he's not over the whole gang, but he's a big dog in the gang.
I don't recall what I told no detective.
Also, have you, when Nut was alive, did you and Nut ever speak about the issues or the beat that you had with Kel?
I don't recall me and Nut having no conversation.
Okay. In the same January 11, 2015 interview, didn't you tell Detective Thorpe, me and Nut, we've talked about Kel?
I tell Detective Thorpe anything to get him out for me.
Okay. So, did you tell Detective Thorpe that you and Nut talked about Kel?
I don't recall having no conversation with Nut. I don't know what I told Detective Thorpe.
When you went and spoke with Detective Thorpe on January 11, 2015, were you concerned about if gang harming your family members?
It's been so long, I don't recall.
Hey, didn't you tell Detective Thorpe in that same interview, I don't know what to say. What can I do? Where can I go? When I leave here, what can I do? Because I have a lot of brothers and sisters. My mama had 10 kids at the house. Yes, my sister, I got an older sister on Boulevard in Oakland City. I got a grandmother in Oakland City. My girls stay in Carver Homes. My other brothers stay in Carver Homes. But I'm afraid they might know she's down in Boulevard. I know they know where she stay.
Wait,
Isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe you were concerned about if gang retaliating against your family members? Are you thinking about your response?
wait,
I asked the question. I didn't know if you were thinking about your answer.
what? I don't know.
Okay. Do you need me to repeat the question?
Yeah,
Okay. Is it true that you told Detective Thorpe you were concerned about if gang harming your family members?
I done told Detective Thorpe whatever. Told him whatever. I don't remember what I can't specifically say what I told him. I don't know what I told him. I don't remember what I told him.
Earlier, do you recall me asking you about borrowing your brother's car?
Today?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes for the record?
Yes.
Okay. And you told me that you never borrowed your brother's car?
I paid for it, so it's my car.
Okay. In the same January 11, 2015 interview, did you tell Detective Thorpe that it was your brother's vehicle and that you borrowed it from him?
I would tell anything. I know when the police question me, they want me.
In your January 11, 2015 interview, you did not go there as a suspect, did you?
That's what I was told.
But when you went there, you were never arrested, correct? On January 11, 2015?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you leave the precinct after you interviewed with Detective Thorpe on January 11, 2015?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. So you were never arrested, correct?
I don't recall. I don't know.
And when you went there, did Detective Thorpe ever accuse you of killing Nutt?
I don't recall what he said.
Did Detective Thorpe in that entire interview give you an opportunity to tell him what happened the night of the murder?
I can't remember what I can't remember what he specific. I know he talked about the murder, but I don't know. I can't remember what was said.
Okay, but did you have an opportunity to tell him about what you knew about what happened the night of the murder?
I told him what I made up.
So you made up going to your girlfriend's house?
I don't know if I told him that.
Okay.
I can't remember. I can't recall if I told him that.
If you told him that you were at your girlfriend's house, would that be a lie?
Okay. I don't recall.
If you told him that you borrowed your brother's car, would that be a lie?
That was my car.
Okay, but if you told him that, would that be a lie?
I don't recall.
Okay. Why would you need to lie about your brother's car, about borrowing your brother's car?
Because y'all were putting so much pressure on me that every time I was coming out the door, the police were getting me. So I knew that police was after me.
But you keep saying the police were after you. On January 11th, were the police after you? The police were not after you.
When Detective Third questioned me, I don't know when was it. Like, I don't know. So when you saying January 11th, from my understanding, I thought I walked in and walked right back out. I don't even remember sitting down having no discussion with Detective Thorpe.
Okay.
So I don't know. Detective Thorpe talked to me more than one time. I don't know which time, what he said at which time. I don't remember what was said. I just know that I was just saying whatever that came to my mind. I don't know. I was going to jail. I remember going to jail, trying to talk my way out of jail.
Now, I think earlier you said you do recall speaking to police multiple times in 2015. Is that correct?
Nah, I talked to them a million times.
And isn't it true that when you spoke to them on the different times you spoke to them, you told them
different stories?
No, you told them the same stories each time you spoke with them. Do you recall that?
I did. I don't know.
Okay. Now, after January 11th, I know you don't remember the date. Do you remember speaking with police again after your car was shot at on the highway?
You said my brother made a report. What I need to talk to him about?
Did you speak to Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis after your car was shot up or shot at on the highway? Do you recall going to the police department and speaking to Detective Gaither?
I don't recall.
And Detective Dennis?
I'm sorry. I don't recall.
Okay. You have permission to approach.
You may.
You can come and look at them. Thank you. Mr. Cole, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 378, Yankee Alpha 1. Tell me, do you recognize, do you see yourself in that picture?
Yes.
And is there a date on that picture?
Yes.
What is the date on that picture?
The date you've been saying?
Is that January 11, 2015?
Yes.
And is that the interview room? Is that the interview room at the Atlanta Police Department where you interviewed with the detective?
I don't recall.
Right. You're right. This time the state like the tender states did a 378 Yankee Alpha.
Yeah.
Your Honor, the state would like the tender states exhibit 378 Yankee Alpha 1 into evidence.
All right. It's admitted without objection.
Next, I'm going to show you 378 Yankee Bravo 1. Tell me, do you see yourself in that picture?
Yes.
And is that date January 28th, 2015?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state like the tender states exhibit 378 Yankee Bravo 1 into evidence.
Admitted without objection.
Now, looking at 378 Yankee Bravo 1, do you see yourself, Detective Gaither, Detective Dennis in that photo?
Yes.
All right. And on that date, do you recall, did you speak with them about your car being shot at on the highway at University and Pryor?
I don't know.
Do you recall ever speaking to police about your car being shot at on University and Pryor Road?
I don't know.
All right. In this interview back on January 28th, 2015, didn't you speak with Detective Thorpe and Detective Dennis? Excuse me, strike that. Were you arrested on January 28th, 2015?
I don't know.
Did you go into this police interview voluntarily?
I don't remember this at all.
Okay. Do you remember speaking at all, whether it was on January 28th or any other date, about the shooting on the highway to the police?
I don't recall.
Okay. In that interview on January 28th, 2015, didn't you tell Detective Gaither and Dennis about being at a pool party before being shot at on the highway?
I don't recall.
Okay. And while you were at the pool party, there was an individual by the name of Bushi at that pool party.
I don't recall.
And that Bushi was the girlfriend of Yak Gotti.
I don't recall.
And that after you all left this pool party, you were driving on the highway in your brother's vehicle.
I don't recall.
Do you not recall being shot at on the highway? You don't recall telling this to the detectives?
I don't recall none of this you talking about.
Okay. So you don't recall being shot at on the highway?
I've been shot at a lot of times.
Specifically in January 2015, do you recall being shot at on the highway? While in your brother's vehicle?
I don't remember. I don't.
Do you remember telling the detectives that you were shot at on the highway while in your brother's vehicle?
I don't remember what I done told the detectives.
In the January 28, 2015 interview, didn't you tell the detectives that while you were driving on the highway, you had your radio up?
I don't recall.
Okay. And you also told them as you had your radio up, you heard pow, pow, pow.
I don't recall.
Okay. And did you also tell detectives that you then again heard another pow, pow, pow? And so you ducked down.
I don't recall.
And did you also tell detectives then the car stopped working and you tried to hit the gas, but it cut out and it stopped working?
I do not recall.
In the same interview, did you then tell detectives, so the dudes, they came up to you and you was concerned because your car didn't work, because the car wasn't working?
I don't recall.
Okay. And in the same interview, did you tell detectives that you then heard some more shots even after that?
I don't recall.
And that the two cars that you saw that were shooting, one was a gray Impala with tinted windows.
I don't recall.
And then you saw another car that was also shooting at your car.
I don't recall.
Then, do you recall Detective Gaither, after you told her about the shooting on the highway, her asking you, when did this beef begin between you and If Gang?
I don't recall.
And you also told her the story about what happened at Club Crucial the Monday before Donovan Thomas was murdered.
I don't recall.
Did you also, in this interview, when Detective Gaither asked, when did this beef begin, that Kel told you the beef began because you hung around a person named Boo,
I don't recall.
and that they were mad because they thought Boo was a rat and that you were hanging around
Yep.
a rat?
I don't recall.
Then do you also recall to telling Detective Gaither, again, with her asking about when did this beef begin, you also telling Detective Gaither in this now January 28th, 2015 interview about the shooting at the gambling house on Lakewood?
I don't recall.
And in this January 28th, 2015 interview, you actually told Detective Gaither that initially you thought another gang did the shooting at the gambling house.
I don't recall.
Okay. But then later you learned that it was Kel who did the shooting at the gambling house.
And he's still alive?
Do you recall telling Detective Gaither
No, I don't recall.
about the shooting?
I don't recall.
So now is it fair to say that both in January 11th of 2015, now in the second interview, that you told the same story about this gambling house shooting in Lakewood?
You just confused me. What you say?
Now for the second time, have you told another set of detectives about the gambling house shooting in Lakewood?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you also recall in the same January 28th, 2015 interview telling Detective Gaither that Kel wanted to speak with Doug on FaceTime?
I don't recall.
Okay. And this is why you were at the Cascade skating ring. You told her about the Cascade skating ring incident as well.
I don't recall.
Okay. And that you told Detective Gaither that when Thug and Kel spoke at the Cascade skating ring, Your Honor, be a party opponent mission with what Thug said.
Go ahead. Overruled.
That Thug told Kel he wanted Kel to pay for the window that he shot up.
The man rich. Why would he? I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Gaither that that was the conversation that Thug and Kel had?
I don't recall.
And that Kel said that he wasn't going to pay for the window.
I don't recall.
Okay. And in the same January 28th interview, you also then told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis about the fight at Club Crucial that Monday before Donovan Thomas was killed.
I bet I was a victim in every interrogation, right?
Did you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis also about the Monday night fight at Club Crucial?
I don't recall.
And that you also told Detective Gaither at the same Monday night event at Club Crucial that you had money flashing and that Kel walked up to you and punched you.
Boy ain't
And
living
punched
like
you.
that. He ain't living like that.
But did you tell Detective Gaither that this occurred?
I don't recall.
Also, in the same January 28, 2015 interview, is it true that you also told Detective Gaither that after Kel beat you up, you ran out of the club and went outside of the club and saw Bloody J?
I don't recall.
And in the same January 28, 2015 interview, did you also again then tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that people in your crew jumped Bloody J?
People in my crew?
Yes.
My
Why?
crew in prison.
Okay, back in January 2015.
My crew in prison. Everybody who ran with me in prison.
Okay. Back in this
With
January.
license.
All right, Mr. Kaplan, listen to the question. Let her finish the question and then you can answer it.
In January 2015, did you tell Detective Gaither that at the same Monday night event at Crucial where you got beat up by Kel, that when you went outside, your people jumped on Bloody J?
I don't recall.
Now, also during this same interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, did you then also tell them your concern about people blaming you for Nut being killed?
I don't recall.
And matter of fact, you were concerned that you always get blamed for everything.
Because I'm always into stuff.
Okay. And that you told them, so the night after Nut got killed, you came down to talk to the detective to declare your name.
I don't recall.
And matter of fact, you told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that people told you that you shouldn't go down to the police department.
I don't recall.
Okay. But you decided to go down anyway to clear your name.
You asked me?
I'm asking you.
I don't recall.
All right. Did you also tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that on the night of Donovan Thompson's murder, you actually told your girlfriend to call the police and tell them what was going on, tell them everything, because you again wanted to clear your name about being involved in Donovan Thompson's murder?
I don't recall.
Now, during the course of this same January 20th interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, do you recall them asking you questions about the relationship between Nut and Thug?
I'm from Canterville.
Okay.
I can't tell you nothing about two other people from other places.
Do you recall telling them in this interview that Nut and Thug, you did not know of Nut and Thug having a problem?
I mean, when the police questioned me, especially Gaten, I know she after me. So she acted like she was into what I was saying, and I was feeding her whatever came to my mind.
So
They tried to make it make sense.
So why wouldn't you say that they had problems with each other versus that they did not have problems with each other?
Because I'm trying to make up a story. I don't know what nobody have. I don't know. I don't recall what I even said to her. I just know that anytime they question me, I'm trying to tell them anything to get them out my face.
Now, you said that you're from Mechanicsville. Do you know where Thug, what part of the city Thug is from?
I don't know. But I just met Thug when I got out of jail. We not from the same neighborhood. I don't know where he, like Cleveland Avenue, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. And what about Nut? Did you know what neighborhood Nut was from?
I don't know.
Now, after Nut was killed, did you go to Miami?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis in the same interview that you went to Miami after Nut was killed?
I tell the investigators anything. I don't recall what I told them.
And when you were in Miami, were you there with Shannon Stillwell?
I don't recall.
Okay. What about Quindarius Zachary?
Who?
Little D from Cleveland.
I don't think me and him ever traveled together. I don't recall.
Do you recall him being in Miami while you were in Miami?
I don't recall being in Miami.
Do you recall telling Detective Gaither that you and your child's mother went to Miami to lay low after the shooting of Donovan Thomas?
Back then, I tell so many lies. I tell 15 lies in 1 second. I don't recall what I said, and I'm not even trying to remember what I said either.
Okay. Do you recall telling, or didn't you tell Detective Gavin Dennis that Thug actually told you to come down there with him to Miami to lay low?
Thug can't tell me nothing.
And you also told Detective Gaither that, again, after he told you to come down there and lay low to Miami, that you and your girl, you stayed down there for a week in Miami.
I don't recall what I done told the police. But for me telling you now, there's nobody walking this earth and tell me what to do.
Is going to Miami a bad thing?
No, which I just told you, you bring up something that you saying that I said to the police, and I'm telling you the truth right now. I lied to them. So I don't know what the, I don't know. Like, go ahead.
So have you never been to Miami?
I've been to Miami a lot.
Okay. So back in 2015, did you ever go to Miami?
I can't remember if it was 15 or 14.
Let me make it more specific. After Donovan was killed, did you go to Miami?
Man, I can't recall.
Okay.
And I honestly, God, can't recall.
Now, when you spoke to Detective Gaither and Dennis, did you tell Detective Gaither and Dennis that you thought Thug was trying to get rid of you?
What you mean?
Did you ever tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that you thought Thug was trying to get rid of you?
I don't think you heard me the first time when I told you I don't run behind nobody. I'm from Mechanicsville.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So what does being from Mechanicsville have to do with my question?
That mean I don't run behind nobody else.
I didn't ask you about running behind anyone.
Saying something about getting rid of me, like you can't get rid of me.
Okay. So is it your testimony that you did not tell Detective Gaither and
I
Detective
don't know.
Dennis?
I don't know what I done told the investigator, detective, whatever you want to call them.
Isn't it true that you told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that you actually spoke to Thug about the fact that you thought he was trying to get rid of you?
I could tell the investigator anything because I know one thing. They talking to me. So they got to go with what I say. So I don't recall what I told them. I would tell them anything that come in my head.
Okay.
I don't recall what I said to them.
Do you recall telling didn't you tell Detective Dennis and Detective Gaither that Thug called you and said, bruh, they say I got a hit out on your head, bruh?
I told you I'm a play a victim in everything. I'm a victim.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna justify myself by being a victim.
Okay. And your response to him was like, you do? And then y'all both started laughing.
They don't even make sense. I don't recall none of that. Saying it, me telling it. I don't remember specific what I said to any investigator. I know I told them whatever. I feel that I can convince them to let me go.
Now I want to go back to going to Miami after Donovan was killed. Isn't it true that you told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that while you were in Miami, initially Thug treated you like a brother, but then things felt different?
Did you have proof of me being in Miami?
Did you provide us your phone number so we can get your phone records, Mr. Copeland?
Which phone?
The phone you had in 2015, did you give police your phone number so we can get your phone records?
I don't recall. Now you're talking about.
Okay. Did you give police your phone number in any of these interviews so that we can get your phone records?
Which phone?
Your phone that you had back in 2015.
I had more than one phone.
Okay. So did you give any phone number to the detectives back in 2015 so we can get your phone records? Any phone you have?
Shit. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't recall.
Did you, matter of fact, tell the police to go get your phone records so that they can confirm where you were on the night of Donovan Thompson's murder and afterwards?
I don't know. I probably did. Ain't no telling.
Okay. And did Detective Gaither tell you that that was one of the things that she was going to have to verify was your phone records and where your phone put you?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
Back in 2015, do you remember your phone numbers from 2015?
Shit, I don't even know my phone number now.
Okay. Did you remember if you had a Sprint phone?
I got T-Mobile.
Back in 2015, did you have Sprint?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't remember what phone service I had.
All right. Did you ever live off of Oakland Drive or use an Oakland Drive Southwest address?
You said, have I ever used the Oakland Drive address?
Yes.
Um,
And I don't want to put the full address on the record, but have you ever used the address of Oakland Drive?
I don't know if I use it on anything. I know I use it probably getting out of jail.
So is there an address?
I don't know. I don't recall. I don't know.
Do you have an address that you used off of Oakland Drive Southwest?
I did.
Okay. And does the number of the address begin with an 8?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Going back to the January 2015 interview. Isn't it true that you told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that while you were in Miami, he wasn't happy with you being around him anymore? It felt different.
Who?
That thug, you weren't thug. That thug wasn't happy with you being around. It felt different to you.
I don't recall. I don't recall being in Miami. After Nut was killed.
Bless you. Now, in that same interview that you had with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, did you speak with them about, do you recall talking to them about Moontunk and that you encouraged Moontunk that he should come down and talk to the police as well regarding Donovan Thomas's murder?
I don't recall what I told no investigators.
Okay. Isn't it true that you told them that because people were calling his name in the murder, he should come down and speak to the police?
The only truth it is, I made these things up. I don't know about nothing going on.
Why would you need to make up something about Moonsoon coming down to clear his name from a murder?
I'm speaking in a general, like you got me up here like I know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so I'm asking you now.
I don't remember what I don't told the police. I keep telling you that. You can't keep asking me what I told the police if I'm telling you that I lied to the police. I can't remember no lie.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
I think that she understands, generally speaking, what your position is with regard to what you remember and what you don't, but she's still going to ask you specific questions and you need to answer the specific questions also. And you don't have to preface every one of them with your general position about it.
Yes, ma'am. But may I speak? I'm not
Wait
trying to.
until there's another question on the floor. And I understand.
I'm not trying to be difficult.
I understand. Go ahead, Ms. Hilton.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, earlier I asked you about an individual by the name of Bloody J. Do you know a Bloody J?
I heard of him.
Okay. Have you ever spoken to Bloody J?
I doubt it.
Okay. Back in the same January interview that you had with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, do you recall telling Detective Gaither, or didn't you tell Detective Gaither and Dennis that you were trying to hook Bloody J and Thug back together?
How would I don't recall.
Okay. And matter of fact, didn't you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that Thug and Bloody J had a falling out because Bloody J joined If Gang?
If you going off what I said in the past, to what I told the investigators, that's crazy. I do not remember what I said. You can't get me up here to try to remember what I said to them. I don't remember what I said. You can ask me these step by step, but my response is my response. You want me to be honest? You want me to lie? I can't answer your question because I can't remember what I said. Okay. So I don't recall.
So I'm going to ask you now. Did Bloody J and Thug stop being friends because Bloody J started messing with If Gang?
Thug behind you, ask him.
I'm asking you.
Huh?
I'm asking you.
I don't know,
So why would you tell Detective Gates and Detective Dennis that?
ma'am.
Why would you tell Detective Gates and Detective Dennis that?
I can't recall.
Okay. Now, going back to the January 28th interview. Course indulgence for one moment. After speaking with them briefly about the murder, did you then go into more details about the shootout not the shootout, but the shooting of your car on the highway? Do you recall telling them about who you believed shot at your vehicle on the highway?
I don't recall. Can I tell you what I do remember?
Is that about the shooting on the highway?
No.
Then no, not right now.
Okay.
Or let me ask you this: do you remember what you told Detective Gates in January of 2015?
No, I was gonna tell you what I remember from when Nut was killed.
Okay. Tell me what you remember the night that Nut was killed.
I remember everybody said I killed him. That's all I remember.
Then that's the only thing you remember.
That's all I remember. I don't remember nothing that night. I don't remember where I was. I don't remember what I told the investigator. I thought that when they called me down there, I thought I walked in and he let me walk right back out. I don't remember sitting down talking to him. I don't remember him doing no ballistic. I don't remember him. I remember he said one thing and he left. He said, the man still on the street and everybody saying you did it. He like, man, I still got a bite on the street. That's all I remember. I thought I walked in and walked back out. I don't remember nothing. Like,
Okay. And that was the first time when you went to go speak with Thorpe.
I don't even know if it was. I know.
Yeah, I think something happened with the mic burner. They all went out.
With whose mic?
All of us. Yeah.
Of course. I don't have a way to fix it. Yeah. Take a bathroom break. The mic is fixed in the meantime.
I'll direct over to council.
Thank you. All right. I think we've gotten our mic situation fixed for at least the present time, so we're gonna get rolling again.
Hey, did
Go ahead,
y'all
Miss
see
Thank you, Your Honor.
Young Thug and Woody making eye signals back and forth to each
Now,
other?
during this same interview, I think I just asked before we went on break that you saw that it was a grayish Impala that was shooting at you on the highway. Do you recall? Did you tell investigator Gaither and Dennis that in this January interview?
I don't recall what I told them.
When you were shot at on the highway while in your brother's vehicle, was there anyone else with you?
I don't recall.
Was Demekion with you?
I don't recall.
What about Shannon?
Who?
Shannon.
I don't recall.
With this incident that happened on the highway and you being shot at in the vehicle, did you tell Detective Gaither and Dennis that you had your brother file a police report?
I don't recall.
And do you recall them asking you, why did you have your brother file a police report?
I don't recall.
Okay. And you told them because you didn't have a license.
I don't recall.
Okay. And were you ever arrested for filing a false police report in January of 2015?
I don't comprehend my charges.
Okay. When you had this interview in January 2015, did you leave that interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis?
You said January?
This
Yes.
boy hilarious.
I went to jail in February, so I didn't go to jail in January.
So is it fair to say that you did not get locked up for filing a false police report?
I guess, I don't know. I can't find no false police report. I didn't make it.
And matter of fact, do you recall that Gaither and Dennis told you that in this case you were a victim? So they just wanted to find out from you what happened because you were a victim, because you were shot at on the highway.
Yeah, that's how they were tricking me. But I don't recall saying it.
Now, in that same interview, do you recall Detective Dennis and Detective Gaither telling you that you probably should leave Atlanta because of everything that was happening to you?
That's what everybody telling me now.
Okay. But I'm talking about back in January 2015.
I don't recall.
Okay. And you told me you didn't want to leave Atlanta.
I'm still here.
Now, in this same January interview with Gaither and Dennis, again, do you tell them again that you had nothing to do with Nut being killed?
I don't recall.
Okay. and that you wanted to make sure that the police knew you had nothing to do with Nut getting killed.
I don't recall what I told the police.
Also, during this same interview back in January of 2015, then do you recall telling Detective Gates and Detective Dennis that you had one of your friends buy a gun for you?
I don't recall.
And that your friend bought this gun in his name?
I don't recall.
And that the reason why you purchased the gun was to defend your house?
I don't recall.
Okay. And that you actually told the detective you don't want any trouble, you just want to protect your home. Do you recall telling Detective Gates and Detective Dennis that?
I don't recall.
And in January 2015, had you been convicted of a felony prior to January 2015?
Huh?
Prior to January 2015, had you previously been convicted of a felony?
I don't know. What you mean?
Do you remember when you were first convicted of a felony?
After my mama died?
About when was that?
After she died.
Okay, when did your mom pass away?
2008.
All right. So if you caught your first felony after 2008, is it safe to say in 2015 you had been convicted of a felony?
I don't recall.
All right. When you told the police that you had a gun in this January interview, were you arrested for telling them that you had a gun in this January interview?
Was I arrested in January?
Yes.
What year?
2015.
No, I got locked up in February.
All right. So even after you told them that you had a gun, the police in this January interview did not arrest you.
I ain't had no gun.
Did you tell the detectives you had a gun?
I don't know.
You don't know. All right.
I don't think I'll tell them I had one.
Okay. Now, in this same January 2015 interview, you also told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis about this meeting with an individual by the name of Mo who wanted you and Thug killed. Is that true?
How would I know? I don't know.
Okay. You don't know about the meeting, or you don't know if you told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis about this so-called meeting?
How would I know somebody want us killed?
Okay. So is it true, though, that you told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis about this meeting with
I
Mo?
told and them people anything. Just like right now, me, you can have a whole conversation. I tell you about some stuff that never took place, and you'll swear that everything I'm speaking on was the God and it's true.
Okay. But now you've told two detectives, first Thorpe, now Gaither and Dennis, so excuse me, three detectives, about this meeting that Mo had and that they were going to kill you and Thug.
I'm gonna play.
Objection, Your Honor. I didn't hear a question.
All right, I think that was supposed to be a question. Did
I'm
you
afraid
have
so.
it implied? Is that right at the end of it?
Yes.
Try to just form it into a question.
Yes, Your Honor. Isn't it true that you told Detective Thorpe and Detective Gaither and Dennis about this meeting that Mo had in which you and Thug were supposed to be killed?
I tell you, I'm gonna play a victim in every situation.
All right. and you actually gave them details about this meeting. Correct?
I don't know what I told the investigators.
Matter of fact, you told the investigators somebody else that was in there that felt like I deserved to know. They came back and they said, hey, I had to get rid of everybody, bro. But they said they're going to kill you. They're going to take me to a gas station and kill me. Like, who's saying it? Mo, and everybody said, woo. Bloody J was on the phone with Mo, standing next to the person that was telling me. Said he ain't know the name of the person that was talking. And after everybody, I just said, kill him. And Bloody J said, woo. And everybody said, woo, woo. As in, that's a confirmation that they were supposed to go and kill you or have you killed.
Okay. Things don't work that way. When you speaking on doing something like that, you don't be open about it. So that's self-explanatory that it's a lie. You don't discuss killing people with multiple people. So you're gonna do it. You're not gonna be telling everybody you're gonna do it. I made it up. I keep telling you that.
And did you tell the detective that occurred at a gang meeting that you were not at? So someone at the gang meeting told you about what happened at the gang meeting.
I don't recall what I told the investigators, but I know that the things that anytime that they sat me down and they tried to question me, I knew I was about to go to jail. And even the times I didn't go to jail, I knew that I had done something stupid and I thought they was on to me. So I was trying to throw them off my trail.
And that this meeting happened before Donovan was killed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. And that the reason why they wanted to kill you is because they thought that you had Bloody J jumped.
Huh?
The reason why they wanted to kill you is because you had Bloody J jumped.
I believe that if any gang wanted to kill me, I'd be dead by now.
And you also, in the same interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, you told Detective Gaither and Dennis that you actually texted Bloody J and asked him whether or not they had a hit on you.
No.
But he never responded to you. No,
I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't know nothing about none of that. I wouldn't have their number and they wouldn't have mine.
Now, back when you were interviewing with the detectives, both Thorpe and now the second interview with Gaither and Dennis, were you the only individual in the room with the detectives?
I don't know.
Looking at that picture, are you the only person in the room with the detectives?
This one?
Yeah, I want you to look at 378, Yankee Bravo and Yankee Alpha.
It looked like I'm in there by myself beside with the police.
Okay. And this is when you're telling the detectives all the things that I'm asking you about, correct?
I don't recall what I done told them.
Now, do you know an individual, Rich, who goes by the name Rich Homie Quan?
Who is that?
Do you know a person who goes by the name of Rich Homie Quan?
Rich Homie Coin?
Yes.
Or the rapper?
He raps.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know him? Have you ever spoken to Rich Homie Quan yourself?
No.
Okay. Do you recall the
I don't recall speaking to him.
Do you recall talking to Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis in this same interview about conversations you had with Rich Homie Quan?
No, I do not recall having a conversation about Rich Homie Coin.
And that Rich Homie Quan, you told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that Rich Homie Quan was a part of If Gang.
I don't recall.
Okay. And that you told Detective Gaither and Dennis that Rich Homie Quan felt torn between being with If Gang and being friends with Thug.
Again, I'm just telling the police whatever that convinced them that I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. So why would you bring Rich Homie Quan into any of it? Why would that be
Because
necessary?
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't hear you.
Why would it be necessary to even talk about Rich Homie Quan
So
to the police?
So when the police question me, my whole motive is to get them off of me. So if they sitting me down, laughing, hee ha ha, like you doing when y'all was up there asking me, and I told you I was lying. This the same thing going on. They sit here. I don't know about them asking me about Rich Homie Quan or nothing. But if they bring up a name, or if they ask me something, I'm going to come up with something that act like I'm in the midst, like I know what's going on. I don't sit around and gossip with people. I don't sit in people's faces. Like I'm out in the streets. I like to be I like to be outside. I'm not sitting around trying to listen to what nobody got to say.
Okay. But when you originally went to the police, it was to talk about being shot at on the highway. So what would anything about Rich Homie Quan, why would you need to talk about Rich Homie Quan at all?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Okay. Isn't it true that that you told the detectives that Rich Homie Quan said to you, we the same set. You right here hitting these niggas this and that. So we talk. We the same set. I just can't turn my back on them. Like it ain't that, bro. This is what you're telling him. You supporting these niggas. Bro, I'm telling you, the more you supporting them, the more they gonna come out and do that. If you leave them alone, then everything gonna go away. And this is what you're telling Detective Gaither and Dennis that you said to Rich Homie Quan.
So Gaither was a gang investigator, and what she do is she sit in the neighborhood, watch us all day, and she put cases on it. So I know Gaither to sit there, and so when I'm interacting with Gaither, the main thing go through my mind is to convince her that I know what I'm talking about. That was my motive. So be bringing up Rich Homie Quan ain't never been like that in my eyes. So for me to be, I'm just trying to make it seem like I know what I'm talking about. What they said they want a big fish, and he's a big rapper. So shit, I'm trying to make up whatever I can come up with. I don't know. I don't remember what I said to no police. It's all stuff I just out the top of my dome. You ask me a question right now, I go out the top of my dome, and I convince you that I'm telling the truth.
Okay, so in response, you said that Rich Homie Quan asked for your protection. And he said, you told detectives, then he's like, why don't you protect me, bro? We need y'all, bro. I need y'all to protect me. And you said, how the hell are we gonna protect you?
Can you say it again?
Sure. In the same interview with Detective Gaither, you said after you spoke with Rich Homie Quan asked for your protection.
He a millionaire. What he need my protection for?
Why would you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that?
They the police and they trying to get me.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Gaither about Rich Homie Quan's father's barbershop being shot up?
I don't recall nothing I said to no investigators.
And
A detective.
he thought that someone by the name of Tay shot up his father's barbershop?
And I told you I did it.
No.
Oh.
You told the detectives that Rich Homie Quan thought that a person named Tay shot up his father's barbershop.
Well, I probably did. Ain't no telling.
Okay. But you were convinced that it wasn't Tay that shot up the barbershop.
What you mean?
You told Detective Gaither and Dennis that you don't think it was Tay that shot up his father's barbershop.
So I told him he did it, or I told him he didn't do it. Which one is it?
You told them that Rich Homie Quan thought that Tay did it.
Okay, so then I told the police,
Correct.
and then I told him that he didn't do it.
That you did not think he did it.
Objection, Your Honor. Are these questions?
Yes, they are.
All
You can
Do you
tell
need me
by
to
the fact
repeat?
that her voice goes up at the end.
right. California.
Well, it may be that too, but yes, these are questions.
Do you need me to repeat it? Okay. In your interview with Detective Gaither, did you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that Rich Homie Quan thought an individual by the name of Tay shot up Rich Homie Quan's father's barbershop?
I don't recall.
Okay. In that same interview, did you also tell them that you did not think that Tay shot up the barbershop?
You confusing me.
I'll repeat it one more time and I'll separate it. In this interview with Detective Gaither, did you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that Rich Homie Quan thought?
Asked and answered. That's the question. Asked twice, answered.
Huh.
Second question.
Overruled, because it's certainly been asked twice or more, but it hasn't clearly been answered. He's sitting there saying right now, I don't know what you're asking me. I'm confused. So I'm going to permit her to try to break it down and ask it again.
Okay, so I'll start over. In this interview with Gaither and Dennis, did you tell Gaither and Dennis that Rich Homie Quan thought that a person by the name of Tay shot his father's barbershop?
I don't recall what I told the police,
Okay.
but I don't know.
All right. Now, my second question is, in that same interview, did you tell Detective Gaither and Dennis you did not believe that Tay shot up the barbershop?
I don't know. Okay. I don't remember what I said to them.
And I should ask this, do you know an individual, Tay, who's from Bankhead?
There's a mean Tays in them.
Okay. Do you know a Tay from Bankhead?
A Tay from Bankhead?
Yes.
Not off the top.
In this same interview, did you tell Detective Gaither about this individual named Tay from Bankhead?
I don't know a Tay from Bankhead.
Do you know a Tay from the west side of Atlanta?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
How many Tays do you know from the west side of Atlanta?
Too many on the count. But not from Bankhead.
Now, back in January of 2015, did you ever learn about, strike that, do you know someone that goes by the name of Lucci?
Who?
Lucci. A rapper by the name of YSL Lucci.
What about him?
Do you know an individual by the name of YSL Lucci?
I don't know in person.
Okay. Have you ever met this individual?
You say, have I ever met him?
Yes.
Nope.
When you say you don't know him personally, what do you mean?
Because you said, have you ever met? We never shook hands. I never met him.
Okay. How would you describe knowing YSL Lucci?
He's a rapper.
Okay. Do you know him outside of being a rapper?
No.
Right. In 2015, were you aware of his mother's home being shot at twice? Excuse me. You're shaking your head.
I don't know nothing about him.
Okay. Do you recall in this January interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, talk talking to them about Lucci's house, Lucci's mother's house being shot at?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Gates and Detective Dennis that people thought that you shot up Lucci's mother's house?
I don't know nothing about it.
Okay. Do you recall in this same interview back in January of 2015 with Gaither and Dennis that you were with Big Boo when Lucci's manager called trying to find out who shot up Lucci's mother's house?
I don't recall.
Okay. And do you recall during this same interview telling Detective Gaither that when the manager called Big Boo, you were present and overheard the conversation?
I don't recall.
And in the same interview, you told Detective Gaither that the manager told Big Boo that he had $20,000 for whoever shot at Lucci's mother's house.
I don't know nothing about it.
Okay. And that you actually took the phone from Big Boo and told them that you had nothing to do with shooting up Lucci's mother's house.
Okay.
Okay. Do you remember telling the detectives about
I don't
this?
recall.
Did that occur? You don't know if you were present with Big Boo and took the phone away from him?
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Why would you need to tell Detective Gates and Detective Dennis that if that did not occur?
Cause these things I'm hearing in the street, so I'm trying to convince them to get off of me.
Specifically, didn't you tell Detective Gaither that when you took the phone, you said, man, I ain't did nothing like that, bro. You know, don't scream my name. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I ain't said he did. I ain't do that. I don't care about none of that. I didn't do that.
I don't recall.
And did you actually tell Detective Gates and Detective Dennis that you were concerned because you thought that Boo was going to set you up and tell people that you shot Lucci so he can get the $20,000?
Huh?
Did you, in the same interview, tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that you thought Boo would have set you up and told people you shot at Lucci's mother's house to get the $20,000?
I don't know nothing about that. I don't recall.
And after that phone call that with Big Boo, you were so upset that you had Montel take you home because of that phone call.
I don't know. I don't recall.
And you also told Detective Gaither that when you got into the car with Montel after this phone call, you told Montel, Boo tripping. Boo gonna try to get, you know what I'm saying? And Montel said, we gotta stay away from them.
Nah, I don't recall. I supposed to be saying this stuff?
Yes.
Oh, nah.
And were you the only person in the interview room with Gaither and Dennis based on those pictures that are in front of you?
I was the only person in the room when I was telling you I made these lies up too.
Okay. Of course it does. Just one moment. All right. In the same interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, did you tell them about your relationship or your friendship with Little D from Cleveland and Shannon?
Huh?
In this interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, do you recall telling them about your friendship with Little D from Cleveland and Shannon?
No, I don't know nothing about that.
Okay. Is it true that you told them that the people that you're around, that you often hang around back in January 2015, is Little D from Cleveland and Shannon?
No, I don't recall.
And matter of fact, did you say specifically to Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, I keep a couple people around, you know what I'm saying? And Dennis asked who? And you said Little D from Cleveland and Shannon.
Trying to convince him. If I did say it, I don't recall. Like I don't told the police so much stuff like this just made up. Like I don't remember what I don't told them. So
And then you also said sometimes Moonsoon may come around, but the primary people you hang with is Shannon and Little D from Cleveland. Little D from Mechanicsville.
but let you tell it, you every time you say I'm about to go home Moontoon. So it seemed more like I be with Moontoon more than I be with anybody else.
Okay.
From based off what you saying today. So you know it's all made up.
All right. Did you also hang with Moonsoon, Little D from Mechanicsville, excuse me, I said Cleveland, and Shannon?
I hang with myself. I don't hang with nobody. I don't run behind nobody. I don't know none of that.
Okay. All right. Well, back in 2015, didn't you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, I really have my trust in him. I wouldn't want nobody around me but Little D. And this is Little D from Mechanicsville. You know, Little D ain't going to turn his back on me.
That's cap.
You said that that's cap.
I don't remember saying it.
Do you remember, God bless you, when we were here back around June 10th, June 11th, that you said that Little D was the person you called your son?
Who?
Do you remember back in June of this year, around June 10th, June 11th, stating that Little D was like your son?
No.
Okay. No, you don't recall saying that?
I never said Lil D for Cleveland Avenue with my son.
Not Cleveland, Little D from Mechanicsville.
What y'all talking about?
Okay. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't recall.
All right. I'll ask it, then you can answer it truthfully, I hope. Do you recall in June of this year saying that Little D from Mechanicsville is like your son?
I don't know.
No, you don't remember saying it? No, you didn't say it. What does I don't know mean?
What you want me to say?
I want you to answer the question.
What's your question?
I'll ask it one more time. In June of this year, when you were here
This year right here?
This year right here, when you were here before, June 10th, June 11th, do you recall telling me when I asked you about Little D from Mechanicsville, telling me he's like your son?
When I said I birthed him?
Yes.
I'm just being sarcastic.
Right. But that was to talk about the closeness of your relationship, correct?
What you mean?
When you say you birthed him, were you trying to what were you trying to indicate when you said you birthed him? What did you mean by that?
That was just an anger statement I made.
Okay. Did you at one point in time have a close relationship with Little D from Mechanicsville?
I don't recall.
Okay. All right. Now, going back to this January 2015 interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, did you speak to them about Thug seeing you talk to the police regarding Donovan Thomas's murder?
Did I speak to them about thugs? I don't recall.
Do you recall telling the detectives that Thug thought you were snitching because you were talking to the police?
Huh?
In the same January 2015 interview, did you tell Detective Gaither and Dennis that you thought Thug thought that you were snitching because you had been talking to the police after Donovan Thomas's murder?
They don't make sense. So I don't recall.
Okay. Didn't you tell the detectives in this January 2015 interview, Gaither and Dennis, I think I went wrong when I let Thug know that the detectives keep calling me.
You keep talking about what? You finished?
I am.
You keep talking about what I told the investigators. Listen, I know they want to lock me up. I see them following me everywhere I go. I'm in the restaurant eating, they not eating. And they got me down here for questioning. I know they only question me to trap me up to get me. So I told them anything that came to my mind or whatever the case is. They don't make sense.
When you walked into the police department and to talk to Gaither and Dennis, you walked in on your own, correct?
Most of the time they question me. I was in handcuffs. I don't.
In early 2015, isn't it true you met with the detectives 5 times?
Let me tell you more than that.
Okay.
I don't know how many times I met with them. I just know that the police questioned me every time that I was in handcuffs.
You have, in front of you have 2 dates, correct? Is that January 11th and January 28th?
Yes.
Permission to approach?
You may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 378, Yankee Charlie 1. Does that date say February 20th, 2015?
Yes.
Now I'm going to show you 378, Yankee Delta 1. Does this say February 21st, 2015?
Yes.
And I'm going to show you 378, Yankee Echo 1. Does this say June 10th, 2015?
Yes.
Okay. Looking at 378, Yankee Charlie, Yankee Delta, Yankee Echo, do you see yourself in those 3 pictures?
Yes.
Okay. You're right. This time to say like the tender 378, Yankee Charlie 1, Yankee Delta, 378, Yankee Delta 1, and 378, Yankee Echo 1 is the evidence.
Admitted without objection.
Now, looking at these 5, on January 11th, were you in handcuffs when you went to go speak with the detectives?
Mm-hmm.
On January 11th, when you walked
You
in,
said January 11th?
yes,
Oh, okay.
were you in handcuffs?
Nah, I'm like this.
Okay. Looking at January 28th, were you in handcuffs when you went to go speak with the detectives?
No, I'm like this.
All right. On February 20th, were you in handcuffs when you and Deshaun went to go speak with the detectives?
No, I'm like this.
Okay. And were you only arrested on February 21st when you went to speak with the detective because you're in a blue jumpsuit, correct?
Yes.
And on June 10th, you were arrested because that's when they arrested you in the house, correct?
You said what now?
June 10th is when they arrested you at your home, correct?
With the white shirt on?
Yes.
Oh, my hands up on the table. I don't know.
But do you recall June 10th being the day that they came to your house and arrested you?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes? You said, I just need to know, is that a yes for the record?
Oh. I think so.
Okay. Is that the day that you went to jail and you didn't get out till 5 years later?
I started with.
On June 10th. Did you get arrested on June 10th?
Yeah.
Okay. So out of all 5 interviews, you were only arrested 2 times. Is that correct?
I guess.
All right. So each of the other times, besides February 21st and June 10th, you walked freely in and out of the Atlanta Police Department. Is that correct?
Wait a minute. What you mean by that?
Well, sure, I'll repeat it. Would you agree that in early 2015, you went to the police, you talked to the police 5 times?
No,
Based-
more.
Do you have 5 interviews right there?
Yeah, but they had me in the back of their police cars too.
Okay. How many times did you go to the Atlanta Police Department?
On my own?
In 2015, we're gonna talk about just generally 2015.
I don't know. I don't recall.
All right. Do you see 5 different times in front of you?
I got 5 papers in front of me.
Okay. And would you agree they're all different dates?
Yeah, they all got different dates.
All right. And 3 of those 5, you are not in handcuffs. Is that correct?
3 of them. That 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 on my not in handcuffs.
And only 2 of them you are in cuffs, or you knew that you were arrested that day. God bless you.
I guess.
All right. The 2 times that you were arrested is February 21st. Is that what you have on the blue jumpsuit?
Okay, right there.
And June 10th when they arrested you at the house. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes for the record?
Yes.
All right. So the other 3 times, January 11th, you came into the Atlanta Police Department on your own, correct?
He caught me down there.
Okay. And you voluntarily went down there after he called you, correct? After you spoke with...
He took my baby mama down there and told me I need to be down there.
Okay. And you decided to go, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And after you interviewed with him, you walked out, correct? And you left. You're shaking your head for me?
Yes. I left.
Now, on January 28th, you also walked into the police department, correct?
I don't know nothing about that. I don't remember that at all.
Okay. But is it safe to say that you left because you were not arrested in January of 2015?
Yeah, I went locked up in January.
Okay. And then February of 2015, that's when you walked into the police department with you and Deshaun, correct?
I think.
And do you remember that being the night or the early morning hours after people shot at you, Deshaun, and your baby?
He was fit to put me in handcuffs.
But did he put you in handcuffs?
Cause the other police told, I don't know if it was that one right there, but one of the police told him, he whispered something to him. Cause I told him, you gonna lock me up, nigga, go ahead and get out of the way.
And they decided not to lock you up, correct?
Cause he wanted the gun.
But he did not lock you up, correct?
The next day he did.
Answer this question. On February 20th, did he lock you up?
He told me I got 24 hours to get him the gun.
Okay. And you were able to leave that interview room to go find the gun, correct?
Finessed him.
You were able to leave, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes for the record?
Oh, yes.
All right. So when you keep saying they only wanted to keep locking you up, you only were locked up 2 times.
Well. No.
Okay. Do you recall today you said you spoke with police in the back of police cars? Do you recall how many times you did that back in 2015?
I don't know how many times.
When you were inside the back of the police cars, did they release you or did they take you to jail?
They released me.
Okay. So again, even those times you were not locked up.
'Cause I finesse him again.
All right. Now, going back to what I asked you about, your belief that you thought Thug thought you were snitching. Do you recall telling the police that every time you spoke to the police, excuse me, let me strike that, that there were times when the police would call you and you were in Thug's presence? And you were with Thug when the police would call you.
What you mean? You gotta be more specific.
Sure. In January of 2015, when police were calling you about Donovan Thomas's murder.
After he was killed, I wasn't around that much for him to be able to see me answer the phone or talk to any police or anything. What you talking about?
Did you tell the police when they were asking you about Thug thinking you were snitching? You told the police, because like every time he called, it's like I was right there in front of him and I had walked up. I was like, that was the detective. Like, shit, they trying to find out who. And he just felt like I was just making stuff up because I always stutter.
So when you snitching is based off the truth and off facts. Lying and trying to finesse your ways is different things. So there would never be the case if he concerned about me snitching. So you only snitching if you telling the police the truth.
Right. And back in 2015, when they were calling you and they were asking you about Nuts' murder, were you telling them that you were not involved in Nuts' murder?
I was telling them everybody. I told them everybody did. I told them Shell killed them. I told them all type of people did it. I didn't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Y'all just pick and choose what y'all want to take and use. Did I not say Shell did it?
Did you tell them that you heard it? That could have been a rumor.
I told you it was a rumor that they said I did too, right?
Right. And you didn't kill him, correct?
How many times you gonna ask me that?
Okay, then. So if you're talking about rumors, the rumors aren't true. You just told them what you heard.
I'm saying what y'all want to pick and choose with. Okay, I don't recall.
And do you recall, because you keep saying that you wanted to finesse the detectives, is that fair? Do you recall them asking you about an event, a shooting on Spring Street where Thug's girlfriend was having a party at a house or at a hotel on Spring Street?
I never heard anything about that a day in my life.
Okay, and do you remember telling them that you knew nothing about those shooting on Spring Street?
I guess I don't know. I don't know what I done told the investigators.
So if you want to finesse them, why wouldn't you just act like you knew about it and just tell them about it?
Because I didn't hear nothing about it. If I would have heard something from like the street saying, I could have been able to, act like I was there or act like I knew, but I couldn't because I never heard anything about it.
Right, but if you're trying to finesse them and you just tell them whatever they wanted to hear,
right,
you could have just told them, yeah, I heard about it.
So I couldn't because I wouldn't be able to speak on nothing where it'd be like, okay, like let's say they would say 2 girls got shot in the butt. I would be like, yeah, I was there, man. The 2 girls got shot in the butt. I couldn't because I never heard nothing about the story at all to be able to say, act as if I knew.
But if you're finessing the police, that means you're just lying anyway, right?
So to finesse the police, you got to act like you have knowledge. You got to act like you know.
Okay. So if you could have just said, yeah, I heard about that shooting. And
I couldn't because I knew his next question was going to be who did it or what happened, where was it? Or I couldn't say anything about nothing.
Okay.
So why would I speak on something and get caught up? I'm not trying to get caught up in my life.
Okay. In the same interview, did you also tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that on the Friday before Donovan Thomas was killed, that you went to DJ Drama's studio as well?
If I told the detective something like that, I probably did. I don't.
Okay. And that's something that you also told Investigator Thorpe when he interviewed you.
Well, I hadn't heard the question yet.
You also told Detective Thorpe about going to DJ Drama Studio that Friday before Nut was killed as well, correct?
I recall.
Okay. So is it fair to say you told Detective Thorpe about going to DJ Drama Studio, then you also told Detective Gaither and Dennis at a later interview about the same series of events leading up to Donovan Thomas's murder?
Can you say that again?
I'm going to give her a little latitude. I think she's trying to get clear what the witness's testimony is. Thank you.
When you first met with Detective Thorpe in January 11th, you told him about going to DJ Drama Studio the night before Donovan Thomas was killed, correct?
I don't recall.
Okay. You also now, in this January 28th interview, you've now told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis also about this going to DJ Drama's studio the Friday night before Donovan Thomas was killed, correct?
I probably did. I don't remember what. I don't know.
Now, during this same January 28th interview, did you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that you actually owned a chopper, a gun, a chopper?
So it's no point in me trying to protect him no more because he did. But
You were making a comment about someone being deceased and passed away.
what you were saying?
Just go ahead and re-ask your question.
Yeah, my question was, in this same interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, did you tell them that back in January 2015 that you, when they asked you what type of gun you had, and you told them that you had a chopper?
Can you say that again?
Sure. In this same January interview where you're meeting with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis, they asked you what type of gun you had. Do you recall telling them that you had a chopper?
No, I don't recall what I just said to them.
And that chopper is a chopper that was purchased by Quindarius Zachary or Little D from Cleveland.
I don't recall.
Now, I think I just heard you say that someone is dead and you don't need to protect them anymore. Who were you referencing?
Tay Threat?
Okay. Is that the young man who passed away a few weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay. What would you be protecting him from?
I don't want to talk about it.
And let me ask you this. Back in 2015, were you friends with Tay back in 2015?
Yes.
Okay. And one, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. In 2015, was Tay shot at by IF gang members while he was sitting in his vehicle back in 2015?
How I supposed to know?
Do you recall talking to Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis about him being shot at in his car?
Like, if I see it, I don't recall.
And and is his real name Trevante Turner? You're shaking your head. Is that a yes
Yes,
for the record?
yes.
Back in 2015, did Trevante Turner consider himself a part of YSL?
No.
Do you recall Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis talking about the fact that he was shot up by If Gang in the midst of the beef between YSL and If Gang?
All right. Threat had beef with Rich Homie Coin. I don't know what they beef was about, but Threat had beef with Rich Homie Coin, and he was on his ass.
I'm like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
who was on who's behind?
Threat was on Rich Homie,
Okay.
and yeah, Threat was on Rich Homie, and Drake got into it with Nut and him. That's it.
And at the time, was Rich Homie Quan claiming affiliation with If Gang?
Huh?
Let me ask this first. Are you talking about Rich Homie Quan and Threat? Was this back in 2015?
Back in 2015. What you mean?
What you were just telling
No,
the
it was
jury.
2014. I think it was one of them years.
And at the time, was Rich Homie Quan claiming affiliation with If Gang?
I don't know what Rich Homie was claiming.
And you said that Threat got into it with Nut in them.
I don't know. I don't know how it went, but I know that. Yeah, Threat like that.
Okay. Is that what started the beef between YSL and If Gang?
Threat wasn't YSL. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people, YSL is not what y'all making it be. Like, I keep telling y'all that a person could wake up and say, Atlanta is a monkey see, monkey do city. Like, you see people doing something, you just do it. I mean, and people say, just because I know this person, oh yeah, I say, oh, I take a picture and say I'm YSL or whatever, but Threat was MDC. You know what I mean? There wasn't he wasn't no YSL or that shit.
Did he ever stop claiming MDC and claim YSL?
Nah, we don't switch up. That's just what it is.
And you said he claimed MDC. What's MDC?
I don't know.
Okay, but if you said he claimed it, do you not know what MDC stands for?
It's none of my business.
So when you say he's claiming MDC, what do you mean?
Oh,
When you say he's claiming MDC, what do you mean?
I don't ask questions. That's what I mean.
Okay. Is MDC a music group?
Ask them.
I'm asking you.
I think they got rappers. I don't know.
Okay. Are they a music group?
Huh?
Are they a music group?
sustained.
Does MDC stand for most dangerous clique?
Ask them.
I'm asking
I'm
you.
from Candyville.
Okay, but you said he claims MDC, so I'm asking you, does it stand for most dangerous clique?
If I say yeah and that ain't what it stands for, you're going to say I'm lying. So I don't know what it stands for.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Gates and Detective Dennis about members of MDC beating up Little D from Mechanicsville in the club, in Club Crucial?
I don't recall. Probably so. I ain't no telling.
Do you know if members of MDC beat up Demekion or Little D from Mechanicsville in Club Crucial?
They did. I was laughing too.
and MDC, are they from Bowen Homes?
No, ask me. Ask them.
Did you tell Detective Gaither and Dennis in an interview that you were cool with MDC dudes because you grew up in Bowen Homes and they from Bowen Homes?
I'm from Canterville.
But that you spent some time, did you spend time in Bowen Homes?
I don't recall.
Okay. You don't recall living in Bowen Homes before moving to Mechanicsville?
Oh, I stayed in Bowen Home.
Okay. And did you tell Detective Gaither and Dennis that you stayed in Bowen Homes prior to moving to Mechanicsville?
I don't know if I told them that.
Okay. And that because you did stay in Bowen Homes, you were cool with a lot of the dudes in MDC. Do you recall telling Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that?
I don't recall.